Why did the US took it upon themselves to see that they bomb Iran? What is the rationale behind bombing Iran's nuclear facilities? Not one, not two, but three nuclear facilities. Why did they not target Iranian people? Why did they not target the CE, right? Why did they actually target the facilities? What is the rationale behind the bombing? And again, why do they have to bomb now? Why? Why? What is the strategy behind bombing now? Now, I mean, now that Iran and Israeli has this almost 11 days today, 11 days ongoing war between Israel and Iran. What is the rationale behind it? So I'll be trying to analyze what I think it is. And trust me, I might not be far from the truth, so you better hold my word to it. Okay, so what this is actually trying to say is that they had 125 aircraft leave the US soil to Iran. And out of this 125 aircraft, 118 were actually mere decoy. They were sheer distraction. Out of the 125 aircraft, only 7 were carrying the real bombs. And I'm thinking, is this not a waste of resources? They were really out to cause havoc. But what actually caught my attention were the words of Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi during the meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Istanbul, Turkey, yesterday, being Sunday. According to him, he said that the US has indeed crossed a big red line and that there would be consequences. And I'm here for it. Seriously, I'm here for it. And after the meeting in Istanbul, Turkey, he headed straight to Russia. And so you'll be wondering, what is he going to do in Russia? Is he going to beg Vladimir Putin to come rally around them so they can attack back US with airstrikes? But even if they retaliate, what is their chance of winning, right? Because the UK is literally begging Iran not to retaliate right now. They are begging them, do not come back. Let's talk about this. And Iran is saying, talk about what? We are talking with you. And US did this. The international polity is messed up right now. And I'm here for it. Not like I'm excited about what's going on. I really hope that they found a mutual ground. Hello and welcome to another episode of PJ Talks here on Linda Space Media. And if you're joining for the first time, where have you been? Welcome, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about an event that shook the international community over the weekend. And yes, your guess is as good as mine. We'll be talking about the US attack on Iran. Okay. Now, the US indeed successfully carried out a bombing attack on Iran. As a matter of fact, the US President Donald Trump made this known in a video. Take a listen.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
When I first heard that video, what came to my mind was two things. In 2015, when Iran signed a nuclear deal with the P5+1 and European Union, and in 2011, when Barack Obama, the then president of the United States, announced the killing of Osama Bin Laden. So this has been the two places where US has come out that I remember, that I have witnessed, okay? that the US president indeed walked through that red carpet. I don't know what that red carpet is called. I mean, walked through that door and indeed made an announcement. So back to the story. Now, this is how this video is going to pan out, okay? I am going to talk about the obvious, which you know, which I'm sure you must have heard, talking about what really happened. But then, why you have to stick on and listen is the analysis. The analysis I'll be making after I have read the news. The analysis is where the meat is, and what must have led the US, in my opinion, to carry this attack, and what the consequences could be both for US and Iran, okay? And I'm going to try to stick the conversation to the subject matter. I'm going to be doing separate videos to analyze other things, but I'll try to stick it down to the subject matter. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed at this point, and just chill, all right? After the video, then you talk about sharing and liking, okay? All I want you to do is subscribe, all right? My name is Linda. Okay, let's get straight into it. All right. The US has successfully carried out a bombing attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. These facilities are the Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan. And Iranian officials have indeed confirmed the facilities were struck, but denied that it suffered a major blow. While the US, through its Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth, said that the operation did not target Iranian troops or the Iranian people, but only the 3 nuclear facilities. How exactly was the US able to carry out the stunt? So the US chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, said that the operation, which they actually tagged Operation Midnight Hammer, involved 125 military aircraft, including 7 B-2 stealth bombers. And according to him, the bombers set off from the US on an 18-hour flight, with some of the 125 aircraft heading west into the Pacific as a decoy, while the main airstrike package, made up of 7 B-2 bombers, proceeded to Iran. So what this is actually trying to say is that they had 125 aircraft leave the US soil to Iran. And out of this 125 aircraft, 118 were actually mere decoy. They were sheer distraction. Out of the 125 aircraft, only 7 were carrying the real bombs. And I'm thinking, is this not a waste of resources? They were really out to cause havoc, because how are you going to a whole 118? That is too extreme, if you ask me. Anyway, moving forward, all 3 Iranian nuclear infrastructure targets were hit between 1840 Eastern Time and 1905 Eastern Time. So give and take, the strike happened in a space of 25 minutes. Okay, I'm kind of thinking, is that not enough time for Iranians to have done something, the Iranian military or defense military to have done something? I don't know, 25 minutes. Okay, let's just move on, then we can analyze everything later, okay? So after the attack, the US military immediately left the Iranian soil. They left, just like that. Okay, like I said before, the Iran's fighters did not fly, which means that Iran's surface-to-air missiles did not see them. They were nowhere on sight, okay? Iran did not catch the US pulling their stunts. They didn't catch them doing the mischief red-handed. But what happened after they found out? Or what is going to happen now that they found out the perpetrators? But the Iranian officials has come out to say that the US has indeed betrayed international diplomacy. They've rubbished and called bluff international law. They've made nuisance of the UN Charter, and so they've come to say a lot of things. Everyone condemning the matter. Russia officials have indeed condemned the matter. The former UK foreign minister has indeed condemned the matter when he was speaking with Sky News this morning. But what actually caught my attention were the words of Iran's foreign minister Abbas Arachi during the meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Istanbul, Turkey, yesterday, being Sunday. According to him, he said that the US has indeed crossed a big red line and that there would be consequences. And I'm here for it. Seriously, I'm here for it. Okay, and so I will read out some of the words that the foreign minister said, because I really want to quote him. I do not want to paraphrase and own it. I'm just going to quote him. And he said, here are some of the things he said during the meeting. He says that the Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. In an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law, the warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its acts of aggression. The US military attack on the territory, integrity, and national sovereignty of a UN member state carried out in coalition with the genocidal Israeli regime has once again revealed the extent of the United States' hostility towards the peace-seeking people of Iran. We will never compromise over our independence and sovereignty. The Islamic Republic of Iran continues to defend Iran's territory and sovereignty, security, and people by all means necessary against not just US military aggression, but also the reckless and unlawful actions of the Israeli regime. Listening to those words, I almost teared up. Yeah, it was so touching. It really touched some nerves. It did really. You could see that he was really upset, devastated, and he was just not happy over what the US has really done. And after the meeting in Istanbul, Turkey, he headed straight to Russia. And so you'll be wondering, what is he going to do in Russia? Is he going to beg Vladimir Putin to come rally around them so they can attack back US with airstrikes? Okay, so I will be talking about why I think he has gone to Russia and why he will actually be having meeting with Vladimir Putin today, Monday, at Kremlin. So the meeting will be taking place at Kremlin today, and he reports have really, said that he is currently in Moscow. And so if they've not really had the meeting, at the time of filming, recording this, they've not really had the meeting, but any moment from now, they will be having the meeting. And when they do have the meeting, I'll be doing subsequent videos to talk about all of that. However, here are some of the things I think that Arachi will be talking with Vladimir today when they meet in Kremlin. Okay, so it is worthy to note that Russia has a good relationship with Iran. And as a matter of fact, there is a nuclear power plant in Bushehr, So Bushehr nuclear power plant is in Iran. However, Russia built a nuclear reactor in Bushehr power plant. Do you understand? So in this nuclear reactor that Russia did build in this power plant owned by Iran are some Russians. So there are some Russian personnel working in Iran. And so if US is striking power plants, facilities in Iran, and they already struck 3 power plants already, what is the tendency that they're not going to strike more, especially if they're already threatening to strike more already if Iran do not come back to the negotiating table and negotiate accordingly. And so, according to Donald Trump threats, he said that there will be more consequences and it's even going to be more easier. So they're going to be targeting more Iranian infrastructures and Iranian government, and more infrastructure means might possibly mean more power plants, more facilities, more nuclear facilities, more nuclear power plants. And so if US has already bombed 3 already, what is the tendency that they won't bomb another? And what is the tendency that they won't be bombing Bushehr power plant? And in Bushehr power plant, Russia has a nuclear reactor and indeed has a lot of Russian personnel working in this nuclear reactor that Russia has built. And so I think this will be some of the subjects or topics that Abbas Arachi will be talking with Vladimir when he meets Putin in Kremlin today. And so I'm not sure this will be the only thing that they will talk about, but I think this will be one of the major agenda for the meeting today. And so, like I said, whenever the meetings do take place, I'll be here to update you. So let me know in the comment section what else you think Abbas Arachi will be discussing with Vladimir Putin when they meet in Kremlin today. Before I conclude, because I'm almost wrapping up, before I conclude, I would like to talk about why actually bomb Iran. Why did the US took it upon themselves to see that they bomb Iran? What is the rationale behind bombing Iran's nuclear facilities? Not 1, not 2, but 3 nuclear facilities. Why did they not target Iranian people? Why did they not target the CE, right? Why did they actually target the facilities? What is the rationale behind the bombing? And again, why do they have to bomb now? Why? What is the strategy behind bombing now? Now, I mean, now that Iran and Israeli has this almost 11 days today, 11 days ongoing war between Israel and Iran. Why did the US decide to attack Iran today, of all days? I mean, this particular period in time, of all periods in time. What is the rationale behind it? So I'll be trying to analyze what I think it is. And trust me, I might not be far from the truth, so you better hold my word to it. Okay, so Donald Trump said that he doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
Even US authorities have indeed come out to say that Iran do not have the capacity, the capability to have a nuclear weapon. So if that is the case, why then are they still bombing? If you do not want them to have a nuclear weapon, and your intelligence reports have come to say, oh, they do not have the capacity to develop a nuclear weapon, why still bomb their nuclear facilities? what are you looking for? Okay, do you understand what I'm trying to say? And so I'm going to take our mind a little bit back to 2015. So in July of 2015, the Islamic Republic of Iran indeed signed a deal with the P5+1 and the European Union. So Iran plus the permanent countries in the UN plus one, which was Germany, and the whole of European Union came together and signed a deal. And the P5 countries are the United Nations, United Kingdom, Russia, China, France, of course, plus Germany, and then all of European Union. Okay, so they signed this nuclear deal in July of 2015, and the nuclear deal said that Iran do not, should not, is not permitted. Yeah, I just made use of everything. Okay, should not, is not, will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. The deal is called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action.
Today, the United States, together with our international partners, has achieved something that decades of animosity has not: a comprehensive long-term deal with Iran that will prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
And indeed, Iran signed this deal under the administration of President Hassan Rouhani, the then president of Iran, and Mohammad Zarif as the foreign minister. And so this was in 2015. The world at the time feared that nuclear weapons will spread to more and more countries, particularly in the Middle East. And the Middle East was seen as the most volatile region of the world. And let me explain what this simply means. The Middle East, I don't want to call a certain sect, but you know that some certain people are known as extremists. And if you're an extremist, there are certain beliefs you have that even when you're doing something that is bad, your mindset will tell you that this is good. And so the world at the time feared that, oh, if these people are allowed to have a nuclear weapon, it's going to be used for destruction and not of good. And so the US, under the administration of Barack Obama, sat down for 2 years. So this deal wasn't just made, no, it wasn't made in a twinkle of an eye. It was actually a long 2-year negotiation that ended with the terms and conditions of the deal. And so indeed, Iran signed that deal. Signed this deal with the P5+1 and the European Union, and said that they are not going to acquire nuclear weapon, and they shouldn't. Any uranium, platinum, centrifuge that will make them be able to build a nuclear weapon was indeed taken away from them. Building a nuclear weapon requires either uranium or plutonium, but with the deal, Iran's 4 possible ways to leverage these fissile materials were blocked. At the time of the deal in 2015, Iran has an uranium stockpile to create 8 to 10 nuclear bombs, but with the nuclear deal, Iran had to reduce the stockpile of uranium by 98% and had to only keep uranium enrichment at 3.67%, significantly below the enrichment level needed to create a bomb. Also, at the time of the deal, Iran had nearly 20,000 centrifuges between their Natanz and Fordo uranium enrichment facilities. But under this deal, Iran had reduced each centrifuge to 6,104 in the space of 10 years. So no enrichment will be allowed at the Fordo facility at all, and only the centrifuge Iran will be allowed to use are their oldest and least efficient models. Okay, with that throwback, you will indeed understand that Iran indeed signed a deal to not ever have a nuclear weapon. And so what does that really mean? They do not have a nuclear weapon. Why still bomb them? They were not allowed to have anything that will make them even consider building a nuclear weapon. So let me make this analysis, or let me do this analogy for a layman's understanding, or for ease in understanding. Let me say, for example, I have a kitchen, okay, and I'm not allowed to cook, okay, but every day I go out, I buy rice, I come back, I buy rice, I buy a cup of rice, I buy some measurements of rice, okay, I go out, I buy peppers, I buy tomatoes, I buy yam, potatoes, I buy broccoli, I buy fish, I buy meat, fresh meat, and but I'm not allowed to cook. But you are my neighbor, or you're living around my street, and you see me always coming back with foodstuffs, but I'm not allowed to cook. I'm only allowed to buy cooked food and eat. I'm not allowed to cook myself. You will begin to wonder, is this person actually cooking inside that kitchen? Right? You begin to wonder, what is this person really doing inside this kitchen? Why is she always coming back with foodstuffs? What's going on in there? You're going to wonder what's going on, because I have agreed with my lawyers and your lawyers that I won't be cooking. It's an agreement. I have signed it out. I've signed away my desire to cook. I've signed it away. And so why am I still buying raw foodstuffs and coming back to my house? You're going to begin to imagine that I am cooking inside my house, right? At first, that was what I thought. I thought that maybe after signing the nuclear deal, Irans were still piling up stocks that could make them build bombs. And so the US is like, what is actually going on in there? You're not supposed to build a nuclear weapon. What is going in there? You know what? Let me bomb your kitchen. Because like they said, they didn't bomb Iranian people. They didn't bomb anything else. They only bombed their nuclear power plants. And these nuclear power plants are located outside residential areas, outside even normal industrial areas. They are located very far away from where people live. And so that could be the rationale. That could be what US could be thinking. Oh, they must be cooking up some nuclear weapon. Let's go fire down the kitchen. And so they went to bomb and bombed not one, not two, but 3 kitchens. In this case, 3 nuclear power plants, 3 nuclear facilities, right? But hey, don't take my analogy for it. That's not what happened. Because in 2015, when Barack Obama was making that announcement, it wasn't a deal that the P5+1 European Union and Islamic Republic of Iran went into with trust. No, there were verification processes. Iran committed to verification process. Okay, as a matter of fact, under the nuclear deal, Iran indeed committed to extraordinary and robust monitoring, verification, and inspection. International inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, will not only be continuously monitoring every element of Iran's declared nuclear program, but they will also be verifying that no fissile material is covertly carted off to a secret location to build a bomb. And if the IAEA inspectors become aware of a suspicious location, Iran has agreed to implement the additional protocol to their IAEA safeguards agreement, which will allow inspectors to assess and inspect any site they deem suspicious. Basically, what this means is that from the minute any material that could be used for nuclear weapon is sighted, The IAEA inspectors will monitor every movement of that material to see where that movement is going to. Where is it going? Let me say, for instance, let me still use my kitchen cooking analogy. For instance, I buy some peppers, right? And I bring it to my house. I buy some raw peppers. I bring it into my house. The IAEA inspectors are supposed to monitor that pepper and see that I don't put it inside my pot. Let me say, for instance, I want to plant the peppers. I have somebody cooking for me and bringing me food, but the person is not putting in enough pepper into my jollof rice. Okay, and I want more peppers in my jollof rice because I love my jollof very peppery. And so I can decide to help my cook by buying some peppers, come back to my garden and plant some of these peppers. When they germinate, grow, I can harvest it and take it out to my cook and give it to my cook to cook with it and then serve me with it with enough peppers. If my cook can't find enough pepper in the market, or if peppers are out of stock or out of flow, out of circulation, right? And so the IAEA has the right to inspect every move. So if the IAEA has the right to inspect every move, why then still bomb? Do you get my point? Why then still bomb? These IAEA inspectors are from US, some of them are from UK, some of them are from Russia, some of them are from France, some of them are from European countries, European Union countries. So they are cut across all the countries that signed the nuclear deal. And so why then did the US took it upon themselves to bomb? Why not carry inspections? Could it be that they were carrying the inspections and Iran has decided not to cooperate? Could it be that they were no longer cooperating with the IAEA officials, inspectors? Could that be the reason? Because I remember that after the attack, Iranian officials came out to say that they were still in the negotiating table, they were still in the negotiation table, and they were still negotiating with the EU. And the next thing they saw an attack on their facilities. That, as a matter of fact, the US was disguising under negotiation. They were actually negotiating with them. And the next thing they saw an attack. That they were being mischievous. Okay? So could it be that they were still, but why? What are you negotiating? You've signed a deal. You signed a deal. Do you want the deal to be amended? What are you? What are you really negotiating? The deal has been signed. What are you still talking about in the negotiating table? So there are some things that we do not have full information of. I'm just looking forward to maybe say 5 years from now, I'll see the movie on Netflix. I'll really understand what went wrong because at this point, I don't know what's going on. I'm patiently waiting for a Netflix release of, let me imagine a title: US attack on Iran. Netflix, on Netflix. Like the documentary. I'm really, really waiting for the documentary so that I really understand what's going on. Because I think some of these informations, nobody's really telling us everything. The US is not telling us everything. Iranian officials are not telling us everything. What is actually going on? I think there are a lot of things that left unsaid, or they are said, but they are not saying it to us. It's still very classified. Okay, so I really do not understand in detail why there could be a window of inspection and you still choose to go for violence. Okay, so I really do not understand what the rationale behind that is. And if you understand the rationale behind that, please put in your comments in the comment section. I would like to read from you. What do you think is going on? What do you think is going on? What is going on? Because let's say, for instance, I know Iranian president is quite old. He's 70 years old. Let me say, for instance, he's someone that is quite young, quite vibrant, that really do not give two F's about some certain things. They can actually retaliate. But even if they retaliate, what is their chance of winning, right? Because the UK is literally begging Iran not to retaliate right now. They are begging them, do not come back. Let's talk about this. And Iran is saying, talk about what? We are talking with you, and US did this. The international polity is messed up right now, and I'm here for it. It's not like I'm excited about what's going on. I really hope that they found a mutual ground to resolve this matter. But again, this is international politics. See, listen, even Israel and US is kiki now. They are kiki now. Benjamin doesn't, let me not go there. But there's every tendency that someone else could come into power tomorrow and will not feel the way Benjamin Netanyahu is feeling. Okay? Remember in World War One and World War Two, Russia was US ally. And what is Russia now? So I do not even see, this is international politics. What will happen. See, they don't have any permanent friend or foe. What is permanent is their interest. And once their interests with their allies are not common anymore. So I'm just going to end this here. I'm going to be doing a separate video for each of the things I've highlighted here. And please refer me to any video you have or your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Do well to share this video with anyone you think loves this kind of analysis or this kind of topics, this kind of videos. And do well to like this video as well yourself. Like this video, because the more you like this video, the more the algorithm shows this video to people who love videos like this. So I come your way next time. My name is Linda. Peace out.